Good evening all and welcome to another video on All Hail the Ale. It's Friday night, which means it's alcohol-free beer night. And as it's November, it's cold. We're pulling the stouts out. This one is from Super Bock. It's this one. It is the semi-alcohol Preta. Bit of a mouthful. Hopefully like the beer. Anyway, I got this one from the Wise Bartender. It wasn't an awful lot of money. It was about £2, something like that, £2.50. And it says on the back of the bottle that it is a non-alcoholic dark beer, a full-bodied, flavourful beer, ensures the pleasure of the best stouts. So, we live in hope. We do live in hope. There's not an awful lot else on the bottle that I can tell you, other than the fact that the brewery appears to have been established in 1927. A few years and to be 100 years old. So, without further ado, let's get this Portuguese stout into a glass and see what we think of it. It's the first beer I've had from the brewery, so let's hope it's a good one. Pouring into my Titanic goblet glass, because that appears to be my favourite glass for stouts. The pour is dark, thankfully. I'm not going to pour it all, because I want to save some for the photo. So, it is dark, but it's not the darkest of dark. It's like a good ruby ale, really, in as much as there's a lot of reddy, chestnutty brown coming through the beer when it's held up to the light. You've got a slightly off-white tan head, not a huge amount there of it, but that's your beer up close in the glass. Not very stout, but it is alcohol-free. So it looks all right, but it's not stout as I know it. It's more ruby. So let's have a whiff. Well, it smells malty, but not big and roasty. It's got a bready vibe to it, a bit like Erdinger, which is a surprise, given that this is dark and not a wheat beer. There is a hint of coffee, the slightest hint of coffee. But you really got to you're looking for it to find it. Otherwise, it's really quite light and disappointing on the nose. So, yeah. So it looks slightly disappointing. It smells slightly light and disappointing. See what it tastes like. Cheers. And it tastes about the same. Nothing about this beer smacks of a stout. Nothing. It's sweet. It's malty. It's got an alright body. It's medium at best. Carbonation is quite high for a stout. Excuse me. Otherwise, it could just be any other beer that is not dark. If you had a blindfold on, then yeah, you wouldn't necessarily know. I mean, it tastes all right for what it is, but it's not a stout as you know it. And I know alcohol-free beers tend to struggle when it comes to making a good stout. And there are very few good ones out there, but some of the good ones have got lots of roasted malt, lots of coffee, lots of dark beer qualities. This is lacking dark beer qualities. I mean, it's safe. It's not going to win awards. Let's be honest, and it's not going to upset anyone. It's a safe beer. The finish is sweet. And malt, it's that sugary crystal malt type thing. That's what it is. Yeah. There we go. I think we know it's not going to go well. And the Untapped scoreboard of joy says there have been 1,300 check-ins and a pretty low average score of 2.5, or 2.52 if we're splitting hairs. 3 people I know have tried it, slightly higher at just under 3. Still not great. yeah, so let's give it some points for myself. We got going the usual 5 pillars of judgment: the looks, the aroma, the body, the taste, and the finish. So the looks, it's dark but not that dark. It's ruby-like, bit of a tan head. It's okay, but it's not going to set my world on fire. It's not dark enough. It's for a stout. I'm going to give it half point on that front, because it's got some colour. It's got a nice off-white head. I like that. The aroma, it's lacking stout qualities. It's lacking the depth of the roast on the malts. It's lacking bitterness on the nose. It's lacking coffee. It's lacking chocolate. All the things that a good stout, alcohol-free or otherwise, should have. It's too light. It doesn't smell like a stout. It smells more like a wheat beer. So I'm going to be brutally honest and give it a 0. The body is a redeeming factor, you could say. It's a slightly less than medium weight. That in itself is nice. The carbonation is a bit on the high side for my liking. Certainly for a stout I want to oppress that carbonation. It should be silky smooth. It should never be like drinking a Dr. Pepper. And this is not far behind that. So again, I'm most I can give it is a half. Absolute most. Flavour, again, does not taste like a stout. It's got that sickeningly sweet malt behind it. There's no coffee. There's no chocolate. There's nothing. Like I say, if you had a blindfold on, you would not necessarily think that is anywhere near as dark as it is. You'd be thinking more of like a wheat beer. And I can't have that. I can't accept that as scoring any points. So I'm going to give it a 0. And the finish doesn't do anything a stout does. It's got no depth of the roast on the malt. It's got no bitterness. It's got none of those beautiful things that I look forward to in a stout. None of them. So again, nul point. Which means that the Super Bock Preta Sem Alcohol has got 1 out of 5. And that has got to be the lowest score I've given a beer in a very, very long time. So bonus points of any description, I think we can do the old family fortunes 3 times. So it's not going to have a bonus. I wouldn't buy it again, and there's no value for money. It doesn't do what it should do. It's not this good stout in any way, shape or form. So like I say, 1 out of 5 on the Untapped scoreboard of joy. And yeah, there we go. I did not expect that. I did not. I was hoping to find another good stout. It's not going to join the very short list of good stouts. It's a good thing I've got 2 in at the minute and in alcohol-free form. So I think I shall be keeping those cellar cool. Well, I have a cellar, but that kind of temperature range. And I will enjoy those later as redemption for this one. So my honest recommendation is I wouldn't buy it. Up to you if you do, but I wouldn't suggest it. And yeah. There we go. Anyway, we'll leave it there and say that has been the beer. I've been me. Those down there are the buttons. You know exactly what to do by now. You've got your like, comment, dislike, and subscribe. Choose any combination of them as you wish. And I will see you again soon for another one. Bye.